The clash continues as we go through another major update in the tussle of power between Ripple and SEC. There seems to be some major resistance between Ripple and the SEC. As a result, investors worldwide have been inconsistent with the next move that they must take to ensure a good investment throughout this tussle of power. However, the question here is, does the biggest statutory authority have any role in this particular field of cryptocurrencies like the XRP? Will this tussle be invalidated at the end after being dragged for so long? Watch till the end to find out how to double the money, and do that with the XRP. Today's video is yet again about the lawsuit between the XRP and SEC to update you about the latest events that are taking place in the court of law. We have the SEC holding tighter and tighter to get hold of the XRP and therefore determine them as security, thereby holding their acts as illegal. What we need to determine is that will holding tighter bring them any benefit, or will it just give them more pain as XRP rises ahead the way it has been for all this time? Make sure to enable all of your notifications to our channel to keep up with all the hottest secrets in the world of XRP. We would love to hear what you say about the latest events, so let us know what you feel about the current scenario. Before we begin, it's worth noting that nothing in this video is meant to be financial advice. Everything described here is a result of our study of data and includes our opinions on recent issues. As a result, it is critical that you perform your own due diligence prior to making any financial decisions or engaging in cryptocurrencies. Now, about the case, the latest updates suggest that the SEC has filed its letter brief in the same manner as it was ordered previously by the judge in the last hearing. This was declared on the 31st of August through the telephonic conference, which was witnessed by a huge number of fans and investors throughout the globe. The documents that needed to be reviewed by the judge seem to be now coming out in the light. The documents being mentioned here are the same, which were classified as privileged. The judge decided to conduct an in-camera review of the said documents to supplement a fair decision. The letter that has been drafted by the SEC states that the said documents are protected by the DPP. This also brings in a certain amount of ambiguity in the intentions that the SEC has and the manner in which they are planning to conduct this duration. The exact words used by the SEC were as shown on your screen now. The SEC respectfully submits that all documents referenced in Appendix A of defendant's motion to compel, docket 289, motion, are pre-decisional and deliberative and therefore protected by the deliberative process privilege, DPP. Many are also protected by the attorney-client privilege and the work product doctrine. They claimed that the compelled release of the pre-decisional deliberations relating to the digital assets could also discourage meaningful deliberations among SEC officials and staff relating to the investigations, potential cases, and the other regulatory activities taken or under consideration. The next claim that they made was that the documents were not relevant to the case in hand. The defense that the defendant has taken is improper according to the SEC, and therefore claim that this is an attempt to put on a totally different defense. Quoting the words they enunciated, the SEC stated that the court should not pierce the SEC's DPP and other privileges, particularly when the documents are irrelevant to defendant's proffered defense. However, this claim seems strong, though we are yet to see the impact that this may have on the case at hand. We think that the matter may be taken into concern, and the judge may order the SEC to show all sufficient reasons which make such data high privilege and out of the reach of justice. We think that there is a lot for the SEC to hide, and therefore make disproportionate use of by upholding their DPP rights. The court will be able to pass through a great milestone by being able to pierce through the said DPP and therefore get all relevant details to make sure that, even if they hold the Ripple guilty, it comes out of all evidence and documents proving that the SEC is clean. In this case, we see that the SEC is not coming out to be clean and has unreasonably lots to hide. This being the case, we will have to wait till the 20th of September to get an idea of the next move that could take place in the coming years. Prior to this, two more major events will hold a very high value. These are the depositions of Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson on the 14th and 20th of September, respectively. Are you still watching? Because now it will get real. Don't miss what is about to be released in this video. Ripple will then oppose the letter that has been filed by the SEC on the 28th of September 2021. This means that Ripple will get enough time to ensure that they come out with a major comeback, and therefore ensure efficiency in all steps they take. As a result of this, the defendants will be filing a motion including all relevant commentary that will hold a high value to the case. The in-camera review scheduled will complement a fair decision and will bring in more transparency. Well, looking into the history, ever since the present economic system has been existing, you will see that transparency has not at all been as much as we would all desire. This is exactly the reason why we need a better system, exactly the kind of system that the XRP is implementing. The in-camera review that Judge Sarah Netburn will conduct will also allow either party to put forward certain arguments that will disclose the real standpoint that either one of them has. Based on this, the judge will also be able to realize certain aspects in this and, thus, the best decision that relates to the situation that XRP is in at the moment. Going by any form of analogy, we think that the chances are leaning towards the XRP to come out victorious. The dubious nature in which the SEC has been handling the case so far, with far more than a reasonable amount of data being protected, either under the DPP or under other regulations, is hindering the entire flow of the case. This will certainly lead to a huge impact on the manner in which the judge deciphers the case in hand. The fact that the judge has been insisting the SEC to produce the said documents relating to the communication about the nature of XRP, BTC, and ETH that was being opposed to by them yet again signifies the high amount of data that they may have to hide. The fact that the SEC has been trying to beat around the bush and therefore take the court to a direction that the court needn't want her to indicates the inconsistency that they are going through. Meanwhile, Ripple has been instructed to hand over its Slack communications to the SEC, which are anticipated to help the SEC prove that Ripple and its individual defendants misled investors by marketing XRP as a security. Ripple followed the said orders and went on to do exactly as it had been instructed to, even though the said data was worth terabytes in size. The compliance from Ripple's side has been much higher, in fact, from the Compliance and Regulatory Board SEC. Investors and fans have been claiming that it is right about the time that the government comes out with a system that increases transparency and reduces corruption to the least possible level. Surprisingly, the government also seems to be listening to the people, and therefore, they came out with a bill that will be able to draw a clear line between the blockchain technologies being used. This will help in distinguishing between what is a security and what will form a cryptocurrency. The sad part is that the said bill is not yet passed and is yet to come into force. This means that XRP will still continue to be on edge and will have to wait till the said legislature comes into force. Once it does, the next question will be the retrospective applicability of the said bill. This is a question that may not be hard to prove, given the fact that there have been precedents in the United States where laws have been applied retrospectively. So, that's all we have for you today. Make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel to learn more and turn yourself more efficient day by day. Till we meet again, keep progressing.